Freezing to death should be agony. Hours of shivering, fingers like glass, a slow, miserable countdown in the cold. Except that is not how the people who survived it described the end at all. The climbers, the hikers, the ones pulled back just in time. They tell a stranger story, because in its final minutes, freezing to death can feel like the opposite of cold. It can feel warm, it can feel calm, and it makes people do something almost impossible to believe. Let's put you there. You are lost. A hike that went too long, a wrong turn in the snow, and now the light is gone and the wind has teeth. Your body knows before you do. It pulls your blood inward, away from your skin, guarding the warm core where your heart and brain live. Your fingers and toes go pale and numb. They are being sacrificed to save the rest of you. Then comes the shivering. This is not weakness. It is your body fighting. Every shiver is a tiny engine burning fuel to make heat. It is loudly violent, exhausting, and for a while, it works. But it cannot work forever. As your core slips a few degrees below normal, the fuel runs low. And here is the first cruel turn. The shivering stops. Not because you are safe, because your body has run out of things to burn. The fight is quietly ending, and it feels, strangely, like relief. Now your mind starts to slip. Thoughts come slower. The cold, which felt like an emergency, starts to feel like a mild inconvenience. You fumble with your zipper and can't quite manage it. You forget why you were walking. Somewhere in here, most people stop being afraid. Not because the danger is gone, but because the part of the brain that panics has gone quiet too. And then the strangest thing of all happens. Deep in the cold, you begin to feel hot. This is real, and it has a name. Paradoxical undressing. Somewhere between 1 in 5 and 1 in 2 people who freeze to death are found with their clothes removed. Coat off, shirt off, laid neatly in the snow beside them. For a long time, this baffled investigators. It looked like a crime. It wasn't. Here is what happens. Those muscles that clamped your blood vessels shut, keeping the warmth in your core. After hours of work, they simply give out. All at once, the vessels relax, and hot blood from your center rushes out to your frozen skin. To a mind already confused and dimming, it feels exactly like a heat wave, like standing too close to a fire. So you do the only logical thing a burning person can think of. You take off your coat, in the middle of a blizzard. There is one more behavior, and it is older than any of us. Just before the end, some people crawl. They wedge themselves under beds, behind wardrobes, into the smallest, most hidden space they can find. Forensic scientists call it terminal burrowing. Nobody teaches it. It seems to be an instinct we share with animals that dig into the earth to die. Some last, ancient command from the oldest part of the brain, telling you to find a den, a burrow, somewhere small and safe to disappear. And then, for many, comes the part survivors describe most often. Not agony, a spreading warmth, a heaviness in the limbs that feels almost pleasant. Some report a strange euphoria, even calm, as if the cold had stopped being an enemy and become a blanket. The body is shutting down its systems one by one. But the experience, they say, is closer to falling asleep than to suffering. So is that the whole story? A brutal death that lies to you at the very end, dressing itself up as warmth and sleep? Not quite, because cold has a second face. The same cold that kills you also slows you down. Every cell, every chemical reaction, the whole machine idling almost to a stop. And a body that has nearly stopped needs almost nothing to survive. This is why emergency doctors have a chilling rule. You are not dead until you are warm and dead. In 1999, a young doctor named Anna was skiing in Norway when she fell through the ice of a frozen stream and was swept beneath it. She was trapped under the ice in the freezing water for around 80 minutes. Her heart stopped. By the time they finally pulled her out, she was not breathing. Her pupils were fixed and wide, and her core temperature had dropped to about 13 degrees Celsius, colder than your fridge. By every ordinary definition, she was dead. But her rescuers followed the rule. They flew her to a hospital and connected her to a heart-lung machine. A pump that took over for her stopped heart and slowly, gently, began to warm her blood back up, just a few degrees at a time, hour after hour. And her body, which had been switched off rather than destroyed, came back online. Anna woke up. She recovered. She returned to work as a doctor. The cold that had killed her was the only reason she could be saved. Freeze a dying body fast enough, and you can hold it right at the threshold of death for hours. Long enough for someone to carry it back. That is the real twist. Cold is not simply the villain here. It is the thing that ends you. And now and then, the only thing that can hold the door open long enough for someone to pull you back through. Which leaves one uncomfortable thought. We imagine freezing to death as a fight against the cold. Teeth gritted, holding on. But the people who have been there describe something gentler and far more unsettling. Near the end, the cold doesn't feel like an enemy at all. It feels like warmth. It feels like sleep. It feels like something inviting you, kindly, to lie down and stop. Maybe that is the last mercy of a brutal death, or maybe it is the cruelest part of all, that the thing killing you spends its final minutes convincing you it never meant any harm. Either way, it is worth remembering the next time the world tells you that comfort always means safety. Sometimes the warmest you will ever feel is your body, running out of time, telling you a beautiful lie. Before you go, we put a lot of work into these videos, so if this one was worth your time, a quick like genuinely helps us out. And if you don't want to miss the next one, consider subscribing. We'd also love to hear what you think. Leave a comment with your thoughts or an idea for a future video. We try to read every single one. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.